Every week, my friend Nick Sperdute and I perform comedy on some planet or world, improv, stand-up comedy, sometimes sketch. And where'd we go this last week, Nick?
We went to the planet of the apes.
Yes,
for now.
The planet. Yeah, okay. Yes, you're right.
You want to just get into it? You want to get right into it?
Yeah, okay, let's get into it then. Let's get into it. First of all, even if humans win and become the ascendant species on the planet, guess what? Humans are apes. So linguistically, it's going to stay Planet of the Apes unless you want to go back and start a dolphin revolution.
Humans were apes. Okay? That's how I feel about it. And here's my thing. Listen, I'm all for apes having their way. But it was very obviously and needlessly, may I add, anti-human. And that's just not where I just stand against that. I'm very anti. You know me.
Yeah.
I say everybody lives and everybody deserves to live in a righteous society where we care about each other and everything. And I was very, very emphatic about that the whole time we were there.
Okay, yeah, there are some problems on the Planet of the Apes. I'll be the first to concede that. I'll be the first to concede there's definitely some problems. There's a lot of anti-human bigotry there that I don't approve of.
Big time.
I'm not okay, but it seems to me the relevant question here is, do we, try and build a prosperous, equitable system that's species blind and helps everybody, or do we just have a bloody revolution and replace one dominant species with another violent dominant species? I think
we start a revolution. I agree. And that's what I did when we were there.
Yes, you did.
I started a revolution.
Started a revolution for the humans on Planet of the Apes. Well done. All right, well, hold on. We'll come back to that in a minute because it becomes very relevant because we didn't actually get to finish our set. We were going to do improv in the capital Ape City. And we got invited, which was flattering. You know what? I will say I can't quite tell if they thought we were inherently funny or if they thought the concept of humans performing comedy was funny. Like if it was an act. That said, though, like that was initially when they picked us up at the spaceport, I couldn't tell. But I got into some conversations with some chimps. And those chimps, they're on top of stuff. Like I got along real well with the chimps. I thought they were great.
Here's the thing. Very intelligent.
Yeah, very intelligent.
They run their own economy, which I thought you'd appreciate.
They do. The chimps do a good job.
They have a very well-run baseball league. Uh-huh. They are doing big things when it comes to even like new television shows and everything. They got their stuff together.
I have
favorite thing about
favorite thing about chimp television, having been there for a little bit long. You know what chimps do? Like what humans do with your TV shows, with our TV shows, I guess. Since I'm
your TV shows, you're putting that on me. You're putting the whole thing on me.
I'm technically human, but human TV shows are like we'll come up with an interesting concept and then we'll just do it until it's dead. We've got one season planned out. Now we're gonna do it 14 seasons until it finally sputters. Chimps plan out a whole plot arc with their television series where they're like, we're going to do 3 seasons. It's going to have a plot arc. It's going to stop, and then that's it. Very high quality.
They're kind of like British people.
Yeah, no, they're very they've got a lot. There's a lot of overlap between the CBC and the BBC. And
that's true.
And so no, I hit it off with the chimps. I thought that they were great, and I didn't. There's a lot of problems with their society. I think that they would be the first ones to admit that. There's a kind of precarious balance. The orangutans are a little hard shell religious for my taste. I found them a tad overbearing, didn't really like the influence they had. The gorillas, and the chimps would be the first ones to say this, by the way. The chimps would be the first ones to say that the gorillas are needlessly militant. They're dedicating way too much of the economy to defense spending and are overly draconian about their treatment of humans. But the chimps are pretty solid, and I think that they do a good job running things.
Needless to say, I started a revolution.
Yes, you started a revolution.
It going. And you know what? I brought some people from Riza with me. I don't know if you realize that.
Yes, the monogamous underground that we encountered last week. I'm glad that you have a core group of disgruntled married people that want to start revolutions on planets with you.
They met me there, and the MU, myself, and half of the Wookiees, which we ended up splitting, volleyball style.
Which we ended up picking very awkward, by the way, because we were
high school gym.
We were supposed to do an improv show, and we couldn't even get through that because you wanted to make it political.
Well, no. The suggestion was human, and that was very obviously a dig at what I was starting, and my shirt that said "I'm a human."
Right? Yeah, you were. God, I've never seen you I've never seen you have human pride before. Like that was not a thing. Like, I'm human, but it's not front and central in my identity. It's just for me, it's just a demographic thing,
No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I just got fired up.
You got real fired up.
And I'll be honest, I'm just kind of in a revolutionary place right now, mentally.
Yeah. Okay.
And so it was just like, this seems like as good a time as any.
Late 20s. Yeah. That's about the time you either do it when you're in college or late 20s. You don't want to be starting revolutions in your 40s. That's just at that point you need to be really working on your investment portfolio, thinking about housing and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and there's also health things that can come up, and it just becomes an entirely different situation.
Yeah.
But we broke down mid-show, and I thought it was going okay. I mean, I know I was ranting a little bit, but I thought I was doing pretty well.
Yeah, you were doing a little bit. Well, okay. If I might offer some constructive criticism of your performance.
No.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. I'm just going to say it was a touch Sam Kinison for me. Just a touch Sam Kinison. It was very. Yeah. It was you. I
was fired up.
Yeah. There was a lot of you were doing a lot of monologuing by improv standards.
Yeah, just a lot of screaming.
Yeah. Whereas I, on the other hand, I was like, wait a minute, can I just use all the old Polish jokes or dumb blonde jokes or whatever? Can I just say human and they work great? Like they don't know our jokes, but like the format's the same. Like, did you hear about
the worst part is you jumped into a stand-up set in the mid part of our improv set,
and it did well. Did you hear about the two humans that what was that? Yeah, it was. Do you hear about the two humans? They're driving a truck and they're about to cross a bridge and it says clearance of 10 feet, but their truck is 12 feet tall, and one of them says, "What should I do?" and the other one goes, "I didn't see any cops. Let's just keep driving." That's a great joke. And it killed. Even the baboons thought that was funny. Even the baboons got that.
No, the baboons loved that. I remember the one that really killed. It was, why do the humans have glass-bottom boats?
Yep.
And why did the new human army have glass-bottom boats? And it was so they could see the old human army.
That's a great one. That is a great one.
It was good. I liked that.
Yeah.
So the point is, I got a little fired up. We started kind of yelling at each other.
Uh-huh.
And I said, fine, I'm starting revolutions with the Wookiees. And you said, no, I deserve half of these Wookiees. And I said, fine, let's split them. And we started immediately. We broke down, put them all on one side of the stage, and we started picking. You got Trebecca first, obviously.
Because I'm dating her. Yeah.
Currently. And then I got the next two picks because that only seemed fair.
Yeah, because that is true. And I got to say, you were very gentlemanly about that, where I was like, obviously I get to have my girlfriend on my team. And you were like, that's fair, but I get to make two picks afterwards. And I was like, tip of the hat to you, sir. And you made good picks.
Classic drafting style.
Yeah,
and I chose Tarful.
Uh-huh.
And Sprankles, who is the largest of the Wookiees.
Yeah, he's terrifying.
And the scariest.
Yeah, Sprankles is terrifying. He's a lot of positive qualities, but also very big and very angry. Yeah. And then I went, okay, I will take, because here the thing. What I was thinking was, I had already made friends with the Mount Pelerin chapter of the Planet of the Apes. Mount Pelerin,
that is true.
The Mount Pelerin Society. If anybody's unfamiliar with it, the Mount Pelerin Society is a group of economists, and tend to be kind of free enterprise, free market type people like myself. And so I was like, well, I'm pretty flattered to be invited to hang out with the Mount Pelerin Society. And they were talking like maybe they'd give me a position in the Chimp administration as a like some kind of economist. And I was like, well, that's cool. So I figured I would go with my first pick after Trebecca was Edward Jefferson, who's a Wookiee that's a former Wookiee senator, and I thought he'd be good, for helping me form a cabinet or something.
Yeah, and then I picked after that I picked Warfaro because also scary and can fight. I was really going for the scary fighty ones.
Yeah, you were going more like, Cuban revolutionaries.
Yeah, and also Tarful because he'd be a good number 2.
Yeah, no, Tarful's
or number 1, I guess.
Well, yeah, I see what you're saying though. He's like, if you're the captain, he's lieutenant. He's very good at that.
Exactly. Yeah.
His favorite saying is lead, follow, or shut the fuck up. Like that is, he's very into that of just like make command decisions, do them quick.
That's true.
Yeah, and then that left me. The only Wookiee left was who incidentally I'm a fan of is Dr. Langara Jr. And I thought, well, Dr. Langara Jr. He's educated.
He's a general surgeon.
He's a general surgeon. This would be interesting if we get into ape ape healthcare policy or something like that. Like, I'd really like to get his perspective. I don't know what the health system's like on Kashyyyk, but I'm sure he's familiar with it. So you're basically, you had your group of revolutionaries. I had my group of, I guess, technocrats, and that left Joe Blob.
Yeah, it was very, very classic middle school kid left. No one wanted to pick him.
Nobody wanted Joe Blob. He's our Gungan.
And we kept pushing him back and forth, and he was like, Misa wants to be on your team. Yeah. And then we were just like, it's not about teams. We're starting a revolution. And I had to explain that. And
yeah, Joe Blob's our Gungan, and I didn't want him on. I asked him, Joe Blob, do you even understand what gradual Burkean reform is versus revolutionary radical overthrow? And he went, no. And I went, well, then how about this? Why don't you just be the referee? Not that we have referees in war, but you go ahead.
He doesn't know that.
Yeah, he didn't know that, and he was excited to feel included, and went and found that black and white shirt. That was, I think, what he did the rest of the trip was just look for black and white shirts. Yeah, at that point, it gets kind of hazy for me because we split off in a little bit of a huff, and I wasn't really sure what you guys got up to. What did you and your
little
do?
bit?
Yeah,
a little bit of a huff.
We were very angry with each other, but that happens when you travel. And when you're on other sides of a revolutionary conflict.
Basically, my goal was let's muss up as much stuff up as we can while we're here.
So just cause chaos to try and spark a race war?
Yeah.
Okay.
We started making weapons immediately. I mean, as soon as we left. In fact, a lot of us just grabbed chairs, started breaking pieces off of the chairs on the way out of the place. And then we just started looting. We started looting and rioting as much as we could right through the town square. And we broke a lot of crap. And we were marching our way towards the Capitol.
Yeah.
So that we could really kind of have everybody lay it down.
Bust some heads.
What were you up to all that time? Because that was a long time before we got to the Capitol and before we saw each other.
I was a lot more wonky, to be honest with you. I mean, I hung out with Mount Pelerin Society, and I made a PowerPoint presentation for the Ape Trade Commission about why I thought that their tariffs were counterproductive. I did not think that they were actually saving any money by putting tariffs.
Wait, so you're saying you weren't really that deep into this whole war? You were mostly just like trying to fix the economy while I tried to riot and break some crap together?
Yeah, I mean, basically, I wanted to kind of it seemed to me that was a situation where top-down reform would be better than bottom-up revolution. I thought maybe we could do this a little slowly. So
technically, we were like kind of going for the same thing.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
We're just going about it
totally.
different ways.
I did a meetup in the Ape Capital, and it didn't have great turnout. There were only 6 or 7 people, but the meetup group was on explaining Adam Smith and the economic unproductivity of slavery. And so, Adam Smith, back then, there were abolitionists that were like, slavery is terrible. And again, I am very against the Planet of the Apes human slave policy. I've been consistent about that. But what I wanted to explain to the apes was, look, like there's a body of evidence that says that it's actually very economically unproductive, because the humans in this situation, if you're only going to motivate them by threatening to beat them or execute them and stuff, they're going to do the bare minimum. But if you can enfranchise the humans into the economy, give them a little bit of skin in the game.
One of my main things at that point was I said, you know what, at least once we got to the town square or the Capitol, I said, fine, all we really want right now is for you to change the name of this planet.
Which I was dead against because,
and
again,
you were so against it.
But humans are apes. What would you change it to? What would be the benefit of that?
I wanted to change it, and they're still thinking about it, by the way, to Apelandia. Because you can keep ape in there, but it doesn't just make it Planet of the Apes. It's not so specific. Apelandia sounds nice.
But that just sounds like an aesthetic preference. That doesn't even sound like it has any meaning. How is Apelandia significantly different than Planet of the Apes? I'm still opposed to this because it's stupid.
It's different because it's not so specific to saying that it's just a planet of apes. Okay. It's Apelandia, so it feels more inclusive. It's a larger world to it than just this terrible, tyrannical, ruling crap shoot that it was.
Well, knowing that you say that now, I kind of regret the advice that I gave to the ape cabinet members. I met with the military junta of gorillas, and they brought that up, and I was like, listen, gentlemen, it's better to rule through fear than love. You're gonna exercise power. Better to have people frightened of you than liking you. No one ever didn't revolt because they liked them. They and that just I feel a little uncomfortable. But they definitely unleashed a very massive wave of violence.
Yeah, and as soon as that happened, I said, let's just get out of here. And I think they're still fighting. I'll be honest.
I
got the Wookiees out of there, and Joe Blob was
Joe Blob. He was already on the ship.
So,
well, actually, so Joe Blob as referee has been keeping stats as best he can on the death toll, and it's pretty high. It's in the millions.
Oh God!
It's, there's quite a lot of bloodshed going on at the Planet of the Apes right now. So, at the same time, though, the important thing, Nick, is that we got into a spat. But our friendship survived, and dare I say, is stronger for it.
You know what? I agree.
Okay, well, great. So, Planet of the Apes. Let's see. I'm going to give it. I'll give it a 7. I had a really good time. I thought the Apes had a. Yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I thought the Apes had a good sense of humor. I would go back. I would love to finish that improv show at some point. That would be
love
cool.
to go back and finish our revolution. So.
Yeah, I suppose you would, and I had a good time. I'm gonna give it a 7.
I'm in.
That's the show. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Peter Boghossian, for coming on. I hope you get to meet an alien someday. Thanks, Nick Sperdute, for your traveling companionship to the Planet of the Apes. We'll see you next week. Until then, tally-ho!